Hello, Sixers fans. It is the Grinch Beanie coming to you with 10 9 8 76ers playoff talk. All right, guys. Well, what can you say? This was a tale of two halves. The first half was maybe the most miserable I've been watching a basketball game in my life. Boy, the Sixers could do nothing right in the first half. It was just awful beyond words. They go into halftime with a 13-point deficit. They only scored 39 points in the first half. And I mean, they couldn't make a shot to save their lives. They couldn't hit threes. Tobias Harris is throwing up air balls. Tobias is doing his thing where he, misses 3 point blank layups like in a row. Um, you know, Maxey wasn't hitting. Nobody was playing good basketball, and we were sloppy as can be. The Heat outstealed the Sixers 12-4, and our old friend Jimmy Butler was a big part of that. And my gosh, I mean, they were just really making us look bad. We had no answer for their zone. Um, we weren't moving the ball. Embiid looked tired. Everybody was just standing around. Um, it was really, really bad. I mean, I honestly was thinking that I was going to be coming to you tonight to basically say, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Because we're going to have to play, another game just to make it and then to play the Celtics, right? Um, so then all of a sudden, the seas opened up, and in the second half, it became what will go down now in history as the Nick Batum game. Nick Batum with a season high 20 points, and he was on fire. He went 6 for 10 from three. I believe 5 of the 10 were in the second half. Um, he got 5 rebounds. He blocked a critical Tyler Hero three coming down the stretch. Just played great defense. And, was that role player you needed? You needed a role player to step up and have a big game when Embiid and Maxey weren't at their best. And that's what he gave you. This was a guy we got in the Harden trade. So certainly paid dividends tonight. Um, let's talk a little bit about Embiid. Um, I was a little surprised that Embiid was as tired as he was. I mean, he's sitting there with his hands on his knees. There was one possession I saw where he just didn't even move. He's just sitting out at the 3 point line, didn't even move. I didn't realize. I mean, I thought, having played, I think he played 5 games coming back and he put up like over 30 points in just about every game. And one was even like in a half. I just figured just by looking at the stats that he was, back in 100% himself. But my gosh, I mean, he needs to round into shape. So, my hope for the Sixers to be able to do any kind of damage whatsoever, they've got to, get Embiid back in game shape and hopefully more days off and, a 7-game series that hopefully they can win against, which will be coming up against the Knicks. Hopefully that will happen, that he will get into shape. Now, at the same time, also you got to give kudos. While Embiid was looking horrific at times, I mean, I'm sitting here midway through the third quarter, maybe ready to say on this show tonight that Embiid is just not a player performer. He's shit in the bed again. But I'll tell you what, I mean, he played like a superstar in the fourth quarter. He finished with 23 points, 15 rebounds, 9 of 10 from the line, 5 assists. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think he only had 12 points going into the fourth quarter. So I think he scored um, 11 in the fourth quarter. He hit a big three, which tied the game kind of around maybe like 4 minutes left, something like that. He had another big offensive rebound and a putback and an and one, which wasn't an easy shot. It was kind of like a hook shot from close to the foul line. And he also made a great pass to Kelly Oubre, um, who was alone underneath the basket, and Oubre finished it with an and one. So he really came up big in the fourth quarter, and that's what your superstars got to do. That's what your big guys got to do. Even on a night when he wasn't playing his best, he played like a superstar. Tyrese Maxey, he had an off game, but at the same time, he did end up with 19 points. He was 6 of 6 from the line, hitting critical free throws at the end of the game. He had 6 assists, so he did at least get other people involved. 1 of 6 from 3, that's not his standard. He's a 40% type guy. So he didn't have a great game. Kelly Oubre, this guy's been a breath of fresh air all season, I guess, except for when he got into that accident on his bike. But that's a long time ago. He plays tenacious defense, and he really forced some turnovers tonight. They don't show up in the stat sheet because they're just turnovers for the Heat, but he really caused havoc tonight. And he made some points. He had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and that happened mostly in the second half. Buddy Hield also did a pretty nice job. Pitched in with 7 points, 6 assists. Also had a pretty big 3 in the second half comeback. Tobias Harris, look, he had 9 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. He was awful. He wasn't even on the floor in the last couple minutes. That tells you just how awful he was. But if there's one silver lining, if the Philadelphia 76ers don't win the championship this year, at least we never have to see Tobias Harris in the Sixers uniform again. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative because it was an exciting, really good win tonight. But wow, he can just, and I feel like when he's out there, it's like the energy level is so far down as well for the team. Also, Kyle Lowry pitched in pretty well. He had 7 points. He had 2 steals. He had 5 rebounds. And he just kind of was a calming presence late in the game, when you need an inbound and nobody's getting open, and he runs through, gets leveled, falls to the ground, gets back up, gets an inbound pass, and then gives it up to Oubre to send Oubre to the line. Great hustle by Kyle Lowry. I mean, he doesn't have it as far as the shot much anymore. But I'll tell you, he gives you good veteran leadership, and he's a guy you can count on. That's why he's in the game at the end of the game, right? As for the Heat, I guess you could say they had a great first half and a pretty bad second half. Jimmy Butler played 40 minutes tonight, but it looked like he got a little banged up in the second half. He scored 19, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Now, he did have 5 steals. I mean, he was the guy picking everybody's pocket. He's a great player. He showed up. I think his knee just kind of being tweaked kind of threw him off a little bit at the end of the game. But hey, Sixers have had enough bad injury luck on our side in the past, so we'll take it. Bam Adebayo was pretty much held in check, only 10 points, 12 rebounds. Tyler Hero, I mean, he was killing us, 25 points, 9 assists, and he was hitting all the threes late. I mean, it probably should have been a Sixers 5-point win, but Tyler Hero just kept hitting threes, and we had to keep, making 2 free throws, and thankfully we did. And also Jaquez Jr. Had a nice game with 15 points. If you just look at like the team stuff, really it's about the second half. The Sixers outscored the Heat 30-23 in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they outscored the Heat 36-30. So That's basically how they got the win. Um, Sixers were a little better at the free throw line, 91.3%. To the Heat's only 73.7%. And hey, by the way, there was that one guy who missed 2 in a row, so everybody gets their free Chick-fil-A. Pretty exciting. Everything else was pretty even. I mean, pretty even. I guess what you'd expect in a 1-point game, right? So, look, I have to say that, going into the playoffs, the Grinch Beanie, as they call me, because I know all and I predict all and I read the future. I had predicted a Sixers victory. Again, the Grinch Beanie was correct. But I will say it's not given me, I don't have any sense of calm from this game tonight. I really sort of was feeling like, all right, Sixers, maybe it's right time, right place. Embiid's healthy. Is he? I don't know. I mean, I guess he is. But he's like, I don't consider you completely healthy unless you're 100% physically, which he's not. He was winded half the game. And I really kind of thought like, Nick Nurse had the team on an 8-game win streak to finish the season. I felt like we were hot at the right time. And look, the Heat it's a tough team. I mean, you got a great coach over there in Spoelstra. You got a great player in Jimmy Butler. This team went to the finals last year. Took out the Celtics. So, hey, beating the Heat by 1, nothing to sneeze at, not an easy task, and they did it. But did it give me confidence to say, hey, this team's going to steamroll the New York Knicks? Absolutely not. I almost feel like if the Sixers are going to make a run, it's going to be one that sort of develops over time with Embiid getting healthier and finding his legs. Like I think the Sixers will beat the Heat, will beat the Knicks, the New York Knicks. And I'm going to say that they're going to beat the Knicks in 6. But it wouldn't surprise me if it goes 7. And I'm also feeling just like a little more hopeful. I mean, I got Sixers colored glasses on right now. So I'm hopeful. But, I don't know. I mean, they didn't look like a team tonight that could go all the way. That's for sure. So I need to see some big improvement against the Knicks. Hopefully to get through that series. Like I told you, on the Sports Porch Philadelphia, I will be doing a Sixers recap after every single playoff game. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Philadelphia Beautiful. You can catch us on the Sports Porch. You can catch us on Instagram. So tune in, and see what the Grand Beanie has to say. The Grand Beanie so far in these playoffs is 1-0, just like your Sixers, 1-0. So with that, I say to you, 10-9-8, 76ers. Big win.